Very good.
How's that?
Okay. Welcome everyone to the January 26th, first of the year in 2021, Open Space and Recreation Committee meeting. Gary Holland is in attendance in the back. So should we do a roll call vote of all who are here?
Just roll call. Gary.
I wrote, not a vote, yeah. Yeah, you're not here. I'm voting that you're not here. Lorraine D'Souza here.
Marshall Dennis here.
Steve Snow here.
Chris
I think you were
Piccone
supposed
here.
to do- Oh, shut up. I can watch this fight. And Janet is here as well.
Peanut gallery.
So, hope everybody's surviving. And I can't find the agenda. Can you believe that? Can't-
Marshall's
believe that.
enjoying this. Okay.
I shouldn't be here. I'm warning, I'm not very functional today. So let me see if I can pull that up. I know we were talking, I had listed on the agenda to speak about the OSRD plan, but as you may or may not know, that's been pulled. They're no longer applying for
Oh,
an OSRD plan. So it was a nice trial run.
Does anybody know why? Was it resistance from the town, or they just changed their mind?
I can guess it was like becoming too complicated.
Oh,
You know, the feedback that Ed McSweeney was receiving from, Lorraine, me, whomever. Well, you got to do this, you got to do that. You filled out the application form, half the things are missing, blah, blah, blah. He said, enough of that. I'm just going to go back to have 2 common driveways
yeah,
and 4 houses and be done with it.
okay.
there's going to be one less house. So,
Well, and I was personally speaking somewhat ambivalent about the commission accepting the 4 point whatever acres. I mean, certainly wasn't prime real estate from a conservation perspective.
Am I right in remembering that it would only be 4 houses instead of 5, but the 4 houses would go into that forest area, whereas with the 5 houses, they would have been squished below the.
I don't know where the 4 houses are going to go at this point, but I think you're probably right. They're going to be spread out.
Yeah.
I do think the loss is that there is just a little bit of land left there on the edge of town for animals to pass through over to the Kalen Farms and the Breezy Hill Farm area. So I do see that as a loss. And I wonder if when we're determining whether or not we think something is worthy or will function as prime open space land, what our checklist should be, what should be the priorities for us approving something other than all the other legal things, which are what scared them away, having to pay anything for stewardship and legal defense. And I was thinking that as a group, I thought this was good as a trial run. I don't know if you read the comments that I sent to the planning board, but I'd like it if you'd read it now, or not now, but after this point, so that when we encounter another one of these, it will be smoother and faster and more cohesive in our response.
I thought the comments were apropos.
One of the things, Lorraine, is, and I've noticed this in other towns, that planning boards assume a lot about what conservation commissions and land trusts, what kind of land they will accept. And this has been going on for a long time. They presume that, will accept the leavings of a developer. And I'm not saying that was entirely the case here. I didn't really get a chance to go and see the land. It wasn't a lot, but I know it's actually pretty cool up there because I've spent some time up off of Meeting House Hill and going down the hill from there. There's some really interesting stone structures, etc. But anyway, you know, I think that they have to understand that, you know, they cannot just impose upon the Conservation Commission, and they have to put some onus on the owner, on the applicant, to come up with a plan for conservation, not to just say, hey, we'll just give it to the Conservation Commission or we'll give it to this land trust, because it's really not appropriate. We're not in the business of, well, I'm no longer with land trust, but, you know, not in the business of accepting anything that developers decide they want to give us, you know, for their own purposes.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, it ends up being more work for us, actually.
Yeah, I mean, although it, you know, in this case, it might have been okay. I think developers come in with a presumption
Yeah.
from the way that the planning board presents this in their own regulations, like, hey, all we got to do is call up the, you know, marshal and he'll say, yeah, and we're all set.
Hey, he'll take anything.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a conversation that maybe we should have with the planning board, is that, again, I know that the zoning regulations, I believe you said, are going to be reviewed, or all bylaws, I don't know. But in the context of these kinds of bylaws that affect open space, I think we've got to make some really concrete proposals.
Mhm.
And again, I've seen this not just here, it's in other towns and cities where, you know, there's a presumption that you'll just take whatever.
Right. So the thing to do is watch the planning board and watch that bylaw review committee and
I think we want to make some
Right.
specific suggestions, Lorraine. I mean, if we can get into it enough to know what they're looking at, and you know, I'd be willing to try to work on that. Some of those aspects of you know, which impact open space, and how the town is trying to deal with open space in the context of development, which is mainly when they're trying to deal with it. What is an appropriate way to do it? And for a big piece of land, you know, it might be very good, you know, and it might be very useful, and the Conservation Commission might be very eager. And I kind of feel bad about this one in a way, because again, I've been down there and I think there's some really cool stuff down there.
it must
in
be.
terms
So
of,
up the town and that house, which is old. So there must be something of
well, there's some really
value.
neat stuff. If you go from Meeting House Hill and work your way down, even through the area that was timber harvest and basically leveled, there's a lot of interesting stuff all the way down. In other words, you know, I hope that it survives this process, but I haven't been down that far. I don't know what it looks like.
I feel like we dropped the ball on that whole property. We should have, ideally, it would have been nice to have had, to be able to protect that whole property, her house. It maybe not so much, but the field and back, but no one ever approached her that I know of. And no one really, I don't think anyone felt they had the bandwidth to, it didn't seem like it was that expensive, considering where it is. I mean, we didn't have the resources, but we didn't even make an effort really to talk. No one ever talked to her. I just feel like it kind of slipped through our fingers. And maybe in recrafting our plan, we can look for some other similar properties that we want to keep an eye on.
Close to
Yeah, well, yeah, it would be nice to have some nice properties and not just fill everything downtown with housing.
just parks.
Right. So,
I don't know what the answer is. I think there is there is some cause to be concerned about this, again, because what's behind those houses on Main Street, I think in many cases there's some really interesting stone stuff there. I mean, the way I look at it, the stone type of structures, the walls are all heading down toward Phillipsburg. They're all kind of following the water courses. They're ending up there. But, you know, when you think about how this landscape was before any white people came, the water courses were very important. And I think they were central to what Native Americans were doing and thinking. I don't pretend to know what they were thinking, but we've got a lot of stuff here in Ashburnham that suggests that this was an active area. And I hate to see anything just go, you know, get bulldozed before we even know what it is.
now they are interested in purchasing or developing the abutting parcel to the west as well. So it would have been nice if they could have combined those two and had a larger piece to offer.
Yeah.
But-
Well, maybe there's something, you know, again, one of the things that I would be interested to do if this comes up again is to go take a look. I mean, there's snow on the ground now, but I'd be willing to go take a look at basically anything early in this, you know, in the early stages, to just take a look and see what it is. It's not just vacant land. It's really, I think it's more important, actually.
Mhm. Yeah, okay, all right. All right, does anyone have any other comments or suggestions or questions about that? No? And we just went over the OSRD
Yeah.
plan, that was proposal. It's been withdrawn. You
Oh,
knew
I
that?
didn't know that. Thank you.
They did withdraw it. The assumption is that they just saw that it was going to be a lot harder than they thought it was going to be. And they went back to the traditional, what they know kind of development. But I don't know that they gave a lot of detail to us anyway. So. All right. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at the minutes? They were pretty clear. I didn't see anything wrong with them. Does
I'll
anyone,
move to approve.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of approving the minutes from our December meeting? No, it was our November meeting, right? Because we didn't meet last month, so.
Gary Howland, yes.
Lorraine D'Souza, yes.
Anna Wilkins, yes.
Chris Piconi, yes.
Marshall Dennis, yes.
Snow, yes. Meetings are approved and I will record them next week. Is there anything on the agenda? I know Janet had sent some documents on chapter 61. Is there anything you want to add to the agenda before we continue? No? All right. Very good.
Maybe
All right,
just, I had a brief comment about the MVP, or curious for an update, but I just wanted to make a quick comment on something. But
Go for it.
go now, you go ahead now.
yes.
Because so I was looking at some notes. I was doing some cleaning and I came across a folder. I totally forgot I did back in. I went to the MAC meeting at the end of February last year, and then I attended an online session that Fitchburg did on their MVP. So I totally forgot I wrote these notes, because then, you know, all hell broke loose. But what was really interesting was the way Fitchburg approached this thing. Their MVP grant, they and maybe everybody does this, but I thought it was interesting, is they looked at what are the strengths of this town? Like, what do we have in our benefit? Like in Ashburnham's case, we have a lot of forest, right? That's a strength. And then what are the vulnerabilities? And so, like Fitchburg pointed out, some of their old infrastructure and things. And then what are the society strengths? What are the society vulnerabilities? And then from that, they came up with a priority action plan for Fitchburg. And so I guess, when I looked at Fitchburg, I was like, okay, that makes sense. You know, they talked about the Baker Brook, where it floods on the Nashua River, Baker Brook flood. You know, that area is a real problem. They had very concrete problems, and then that led to concrete solutions. Are we doing that for Ashburnham, you think, or?
We will be.
Or I guess, and who is we?
That's a really
Well,
good-
there's interesting question. I shall let you know that the kickoff meeting with the state is going to be this Friday at 10:30. I didn't print out the agenda, but it's going to be with Brian, our town administrator, Steve Nims, a couple folks from Park Corporation. It's going to be the acting head of the fire department, Chris Conrad from the police department, who's also on the marijuana review committee, and me. And allegedly, I've been asked to be the chairperson of the MVP core team. I've accepted. If they decide that, you know, in retrospect, before Friday, that that's really not appropriate, or you know, then, you know, who knows? But we'll find out on Friday. Again, we'll be meeting with the state, and I don't know how these kickoff meetings go. I've never been there, done that. I don't know what's discussed, but you know, we'll find out. And so, to answer your question, you know, what I'm obviously going to be requesting, you know, even as if I'm just a core team member, it doesn't matter, is, you know, what's your schedule? You know, what are the next steps? And how are we going to, you know, successfully reach the end in the 5 months we've got left?
That sounds great, Marshall. I'm so glad that you pushed them and got this going.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe that's the price I pay for, you know, rattling the cage, but it obviously needed to be rattled, and
Yeah.
otherwise it could be, you know, 2 or 3 months from now and nothing happens, and you know, we'd have to give back the money, and that's definitely the wrong way to go.
Do you feel you got did you get a sufficient response from the Board of Selectmen, or did they address each of the things you said, or is this?
No, I've still received no answers to any of the questions, and you know, I at this point I think the answers are probably pretty obvious, and I think it's a discussion that I will have probably offline with Bar Corporation. You know, how do we accomplish in 5 months what was projected to be a 10-month process? You know, those kind of things.
Is that a public meeting? Marshall?
No, by invitation only.
Ooh, lucky you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I certainly won't be looking like this. I mean,
Gotta dress up for the occasion.
You look fine,
Yeah, you're
Marshall.
fine. Yeah,
although I should say that, you know, I've known the Central Regional Coordinator for the MVP program for, you know, going on 14 years. So we've done field work together, et cetera. So she's seen worse.
Yeah, yeah. No, it'll be good. So usually at those kickoff meetings, they ask the steering committee members to put together a list of constituents to invite to the first public meeting. And so I'm wondering if we can help with that, and in terms of, you know, just let us know.
Yeah, the way I see things going is, first of all, you know, confirmation of the core team at this initial meeting. And then what the next steps are going to be. And just because you have the core team, then the team are going to be reaching out to, you know, plan, you know, all the subcategories. I've already printed out, I don't know what I did, lists of other towns have brought into the process.
Right.
And, you know, they're page-long lists of all municipal agencies, land trusts, you know, like lake associations, blah, 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 you know.
Yeah.
All these people that have, you know, something to say about and are responsible for, you know,
Right.
some critical components within the town. So, and it's that kind of strategy that I think needs to be worked out of, okay, how are we going to implement all this?
Marshall, you just mentioned something that I think is going to be really key in Ashburnham, and it's all these lake associations and these dams.
Well, yeah, these damn dams, and I went online the other day and, per Mass GIS, and, 4 of them are listed as high hazard,
Mhm.
4 are listed as significant hazard, and 3 are listed as low hazard. So, so who's doing what about any of that? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I think one of the, because we're not basically in a floodplain, we're not downriver in Fitchburg.
Right.
where
No,
there's
we're at the headwaters.
Yeah, we are in the headwaters, but
Flooding.
what happens when a dam is breached, as I understand it, is pretty devastating. And, we have these dam regulations now that require annual inspections, et cetera, et cetera. I think one of the things to be sure we understand is who owns what dams, and have they been filing their reports? Have they been getting them inspected?
Well, yeah, and
cetera?
I think that's something that we can find out. Unfortunately, I've searched, pretty thoroughly. I couldn't find anything like that online.
Yep.
And they just don't publish that information.
If you need some help with that, I'll try to help.
Yeah, well-
I am working on one dam removal project, or helping the landowner in Wendell, and I'm learning about it, about the process. But one of the things is, who owns the dam? A lot of these owners are not doing what they are supposed to do because it's expensive. And
Yeah, no, it's very expensive, very
yeah,
expensive. And there could be problems that need to be addressed right away, like like Winnicke, when Andrew, from our commission, said that there are beavers immediately downstream that are causing backups, which, may undermine the downslope side of the dam.
Mhm.
Whoever the owner is, it's this company down in Fitchburg.
Mhm.
Begins with an MUJ something. I can't remember.
That's changing hands.
Hmm?
That dam is changing hands.
Well,
It's going to belong to the association.
And far,
and we've had this discussion. It's like my question was, why do they ever want to?
They want control of it.
They want control of it, but anyway.
Yeah, this is a really complex issue, and it involves not only dam regulation, but who gives grants for dam removal.
Yeah.
Who's liable for downstream problems, et cetera. It's a complicated issue, and for Ashburnham, I think we're going to have to get into it, actually.
Well, the MVP process will not answer those questions. It will simply be, what are the problems, and what are some of the ways that they can be addressed. But it's step number 1.
I believe that Sunset owns the dam. I'm pretty sure they do. Town owns Lower Naugatuck and Watauga.
Quantitative.
And then, like, as he said, we know that Winnickeg's going to go to the Lake Association. So which ones are left? There's,
Sportsman's Club, and they're working on fixing theirs.
On Wallace, right?
Yeah.
Right.
and then Gary says Stodge Meadow owns theirs.
They do.
So
And the town owns Whitney Pond.
Whitney Pond.
is that something we should include in our open space plan? Just as a matter of record going forward?
We could.
Stick it.
Yeah,
in.
I don't know who else is looking at this. So, it's a public safety issue, obviously, but it's certainly touches on open space.
I don't think anybody's looking at it.
No, in which case, it's gonna be, well, it should be something that we, I think, try to bring on board. I've seen some really weird stuff happen in towns with dams. I mean, they have no idea what they're doing. They're talking about, selling the dam or the town taking over the dam, It's amazing the lack of information or understanding of what the liabilities are, what the problems are. People want the pond to stay forever. Doesn't matter how much it costs to repair the dam. It doesn't make any sense. You know, so there's a lot of issues. And with all these homes and all the value around these ponds, and, you know, where people have expensive homes and they go for higher prices because they're on one of these ponds and they got some kind of lake association. What the heck does that mean? Do they have any insurance if the dam should breach? I mean, there's all kinds of issues here, and I don't pretend to understand them, but I think there's a lot of issues.
Yeah, there are, and, you know, until something happens.
Nobody cares.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, the sky will still be blue tomorrow, okay?
Yeah. Even if your house has washed downstream.
Right.
Not yours, Marshall, by the way.
No, I'm gonna need the flood of the century, I dare say. Okay, so anyway, that's where we are with the MVP, and, you know, once after Friday, I'll be able to fill in people more about what it's all about. So what's next, Lorraine?
Yes, I took a little break. I lost my connection. Let me reorient myself. Next is,
Lorraine, we can't see you.
You're underwater.
You're underwater.
That's right.
You got flooded out. Dam broke.
We're gonna put you on the MVP list.
can you hear me? 'Cause I can't
Just
see
barely.
anything.
Barely.
All right. I'll talk loud, maybe it'll come back. So, yeah, update of Riverfront Park.
Ooh, I feel like I'm ordering hamburgers at McDonald's.
Yeah, really.
Rain, oh, she's gone. She got
I
booted
think
off.
she's been having some computer problems today. I don't know.
Well, okay, you know, let me ask you while we're waiting here. What is the status of the South Slope? Did you do it?
Yeah, closed last Tuesday. We just got
Oh,
the.
congratulations,
release.
yay!
Yeah, you guys should be getting thank you cards in the mail.
I did. That's why I
and-
asked.
Good. Yeah.
Great.
And we just got the press release back from the state. You know, they have to put it through like a million filters before they let you,
Right.
you know, do anything with it. So that'll be going out. Well, it started going out today. So
Excellent.
more public unveiling. And then, but of course, you know, it's kind of a soft hurrah, since the real hurrah will be when the state closes next year with us. So it's
That's
very
great,
exciting.
Anna. That's really a terrific acquisition. And,
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
It was
yeah.
it was epic. It was a heavy lift, and it was it's just great. So I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased for
Anna,
Ashburnham and Ashby. I don't know.
Just just curious. Oh,
Yeah.
is there a trail now, and could there possibly be a future public trail from your new property up to that summit? Because I'm wondering if well, A, you would probably have more parking than 119 has, and B, it would take some of the pressure off, because the trail right now from the main parking lot off 119, yeah, that trail's getting beat to hell,
Yeah.
especially with COVID. And if there was two routes to the summit, at least you'd have half,
I turned
you know,
it
in
on.
theory, maybe half the damage.
Yes,
Turn
I
the volume up so I can't hear
I
you.
would, yes, well, yes and no. And I would love to talk to you more about it. And I can talk to all of you about it, but I don't want to derail subject matters here. And it's a little bit tricky. The Hardy Road access is tricky, but there's hope. There's hope on 119. I'll talk to you all about that later.
Okay, curious. I'm just curious.
Gary is.
Gary, you might want to mute the microphone on that cell phone It sounds like it just got swallowed by something.
We're getting a tour.
Yeah. Anyway, Lorraine, what's next on the agenda?
Okay, I'm sorry. Major difficulties here. Okay, I switched my connection to my phone instead of my iPad. So I would suggest that if you lose me again, just go on without someone have the agenda. And
Great. So it's the update of the Riverfront Park, is that right?
yeah, yes. I hear an echo. Is that you, Gary?
Jesus.
Can you hear the echo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gary, just mute your phone and
Well, I had to kick him up because I was getting feedback. Other than his feedback, his phone's feedback. Gary? What?
Yeah.
So the park. If I speak half speed, maybe it won't be so bad. Debbie and I went out and flagged the area that she proposes cutting, according to what she believed that Marshall agreed to. So Marshall's going to come out and look at it.
I did.
You did. And
I did this afternoon. I have some questions about a couple of flags. I mean, the flagging certainly isn't linear. It takes a few bizarre, whatever. But I think in general, it's, close to what we could agree to, we, the commission, I think. Again, I have some questions about, why is some flag kind of offline and why is it there? But in general, I think most of the flagging separates the upland from the wetland. And I'm assuming that you're wanting to remove the vegetation on the upslope side of the flagging, and off the parking lot, off the stairs that exist there.
right.
I don't know if you had any plans for like little vista prunings to Phillips Brook itself. But there may be a couple locations where that's possible. I don't know if you notice it, but there's a Covert Outlet near the brook that appears to come from the upstream dam. And with the snow and everything, I couldn't tell where. I mean, I can show it to you, but it's kind of bizarre. But you weren't really near there anyway, so it wouldn't be affected.
Or was it near to the right of the swing set
Yeah,
towards the dam? Yeah.
yeah.
We did look at that, and I can't remember. We had a discussion about that. And I think she might have said that you said we should stay away from that, and we didn't. We weren't really. There's a lot of roots and stuff there that we didn't want.
No, and that's all within the wetland area anyway. But I think with a little refinement and maybe some on-site, like not redoing the whole flagging, but just making sure we're comfortable with.
We can do it in stages too. We just start incrementally, kind of get your approval, and then maybe go on to the next part.
Well, yeah, and but other than removing the existing vegetation, the question is, okay, what else are you doing?
She wants to take the fence down, but I'm not sure the town will want to do that.
I don't think so either.
I don't either. I didn't say anything, but I was questioning
No,
that.
because that someone's just going to keel over,
She wants to paint it, but I don't see the need to take the fence.
I mean,
out.
it's in lousy shape, but nonetheless.
But kind of breaks the break there, the
Right,
wall, so
right.
it does function as a safety.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think it needs to be maintained
Right.
or a new one installed.
Right. And if
But-
they have the money for that, I don't. who-
Yeah, I don't. Well, anyway, I think that well, not supposed to do it, but we can refine the flagging.
Okay, and we'll just, that's what we'll propose, and then when, at the meeting, we can all discuss.
Yeah.
When everyone's looking at it on the plan, we can all.
Yep.
Refine
Yep.
that. And speaking of that, need the board's approval to expend $250 from the Open Space and Recreation Committee's budget. I did get the town administrator and the Board of Selectmen to allow us to spend some of our money. That's been frozen. And I wanted to get all of your approval before I even filled out the, picked up, I think Cease had started this, the orders of conditions. Before I went any further, I thought I would make a motion that the Open Space and Recreation Committee allow the expenditure of $250 to use towards fees for this Riverfront project.
How did you calculate that?
I went basically by what you had told me in terms of the town fees, the state fees. You said you would waive the bylaw fees, and then I doubled it so that we could take care of advertising and a butter notification. So, and what I got permission from, for the town, from the Board of Selectmen, was to spend up to $250. So if we don't spend that much, then we don't get the money. Does that sound about right, Marshall, for fees?
That's what I'm trying to. Depends on how you characterize what you're doing. I mean, I'm supposing that you know, it could be considered resource improvement. Could be considered controlled vegetation. There's a lot of multiflora rows
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
That even though it's sometimes within the wetland, you know, going in there and just cutting it down and ripping it out would be of benefit. So it has to be one of those two things, the fee of which is $110 at the state level, which means that it's 100.
I can always go back and ask them for more if
I don't know. So, you know,
necessary.
$67.50 would go to the commission,
Okay.
and the balance would go to the state.
See, so you're the one that started this?
$42.50.
I don't remember.
So anyway,
Probably.
so I mean, all we really care about is the state fee, because the bylaw fee will be waived.
And the municipal fee, that's separate from the bylaw fee, correct? There's the bylaw fee, the municipal fee, and then the state fee, right?
Well,
3 feet?
yeah, the municipal and state fee are tied together under the Wetlands Protection Act. So the bylaw fee goes away.
Right.
But under the state act, you're obliged to pay, given, one of 4 categories. So in this case, if we call it a category 1 action, the filing fee is $110. $67.50 goes to the town of Ashburnham. $42.50 goes to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Are there blank forms online?
Yeah.
There must be for this. Right.
Yeah, they're fill in the blank.
Right.
Except that you're in the riverfront area. So it's 1.5 times. Whatever, it's still within the 250.
And that'll be calculated upon completion of the, or during, and the fees are here. It's been a long time since I've looked at one. So when we show up, with the check,
I'll spell it out for you.
okay, you'll do that when we submit it.
No, I'll do it beforehand so you can fill in the
Okay.
fee transmittal form.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions? No? Do I have a second on that motion?
Who moved?
I moved.
You moved. Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Anna Wilkins, aye.
Chris Bocconi, aye.
See Snow Eye.
Gary Howland, aye.
Okay, so moved. The motion is approved. I'll get going on this and get it to Marshall. I'm not sure, we might just be cutting for now, and when does the burn period end? Is it April 1st?
Yeah, I believe so. Well, we can talk about the NOI, but try to include some photos and stuff like that.
I'm gonna do some aerials and make an
And,
approximation of where
and
the,
even a sketch plan describe, the vegetation that's going to be removed, how it's going to be removed.
Okay.
Are you pulling it up by the roots or are you just cutting it at the base?
I don't know that we have that, because the equipment will be borrowed from someone in Ashby. I don't know that he has the ability to pull anything. I think he can cut and move. I think he can just move. So people will be hand cutting, and then this machine will be in place, reaching.
Well, anyway, that just needs to be described. And dare I ask whether or not, once you cut the roots or cut the plant, whether or not any kind of Roundup rodeo is going to be sprayed on the plants?
She has talked about it. I haven't thought about it. That would require much. under and with a lot more money and for
And I personally have no problem with
my
it. So,
deterrent for now.
I mean, as long as it's immediately directed at the cross section of the woody plant that was cut. So,
Can we move to the next item?
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
You see me now?
Is it the update?
Hello?
Hello? Lorraine?
I can't see anyone, so I'm totally disoriented. I can see myself, but
Can you hear?
But you can hear
you
it? I can hear you, Anna. Are you looking for the update on Washington Road?
Oh,
That's your
Winchendon Road. We can barely hear you, Lorraine.
Wah, 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 wah.
Oh, she's gone. I think she said Winchendon Road update. Do we already
The
do
park,
that or
it's Winchton Park,
park?
Park,
Sorry,
Park.
I have to switch tabs to see the agenda again. Let me see.
Want me to show you?
Yeah, yeah, you can share your screen.
Oh, I have it on a piece of paper.
Oh,
Fashion, I don't know how to do this stuff. It's Winchton
apparently I don't either. Which
Winch-
tab is it?
update.
Okay, I'm on Gary's phone.
All right.
So, Anna,
You're still doing it.
I feel like I'm doing scales on a
About
piano.
the next, did you
Yeah,
want to move on to that, Adam? Well, I need the agenda, 'cause you're
Hang on a second.
okay.
You're talking about drinking during the meeting.
So you just wanted
Excuse
to.
me.
hey, Chris, we have a drink for me?
They're going
So-
to complain about us, I think, that
There it is.
we are impaired during this meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
In every way.
I need a drink of water.
Yeah.
Oh, Winchester Park status
Winchester
update.
Park.
Yeah, me too.
What about it?
It's an update.
Okay, so
Been disbanded.
disbanded the committee. They disbanded the committee. What? Yes, you know that.
Yes,
I was
they-
afraid they wouldn't tell you. They wouldn't tell you. Right? Can
Sorry.
you hear?
This is not working.
No, it's not. But Anna, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Hurry up.
Did you, did you hear that that committee was disbanded?
Yes. I got
Okay,
an email from Bill Johnson.
Okay, good. I was just afraid they wouldn't tell you.
Yes.
Okay. Next one, I would think Janet wanted to talk about chapter 61, and then I wanted to try to start the update of the open space plan, at least to try to each person to take a piece of that to get it going.
Oh, okay, you want me to talk about
Leave that
chapter?
to Janet first for a quick. Well, you sent those documents. Was that to have a discussion tonight? Or
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that
I mean,
for future
I
reference?
didn't necessarily mean that we should look at them tonight because you didn't have it on the agenda, but, you know,
Okay.
all I want to do is say, basically, that there's several policy examples out there that are pretty good. They would have to be tailored to our town and basically what we feel our town administration can deal with. If we make it too complicated, they won't do it. So for one thing, I think we need some input from maybe the town administrator, maybe from the Board of Selectmen. So what I was going to offer is please take a look at these things. And what I was going to do is try to synthesize what I felt was the most important stuff. I mean, some of these policies are very, very long. They're pages and pages and pages. And I don't think that's what we want. I think we want sort of more of a bullet point. Points, who should the notice go to? Then what's the timeline on what should happen? Keep it as simple as possible. So what I was going to do is try to use those examples to come up with something that might work for Ashburnham and then send it out to you guys and have you guys critique it and then maybe try to get together with the town administrators, you know, maybe Rosemary, and see what they think of it. And, you know, let's make it easy to implement for everybody, not like, oh shit, I have to figure this out. We don't want to do that. So that was just my idea. it would be better than what happens now, which is that everything is sort of automatically accepted, you know? That's
Well,
all. Doesn't
I
have,
mean, now there is no protocol.
no, there is nothing. There's nothing right now. So,
And
you know,
there should-
we'll try to get
there
it really,
should be
really
no problem.
simple. You know, it is extremely complex if the town decides either to assign or to accept. There's a whole bunch of very, very precise steps that have to be taken, at which point, if that happens, I can get involved and make sure that, or try to make sure that it's done correctly. But just the initial stuff is, do we like this land? Do we want to do something with it other than just let it go?
Yeah.
That's important that we at least get to that point after having had an opportunity to look at the situation fairly carefully and discuss it or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, we should review the three examples that you've forwarded and, you know, maybe forward whatever our ideas to you, and then you can incorporate them into, you know, and I certainly agree with, you know, the briefer, the better.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
you
it's-
want to touch all the bases, but
Yeah.
you just don't want to drag them out.
No. And so, you know, basically, yeah, please look at them. If you think there's something's really pertinent or you don't think it should be used or whatever, just let me know. Throw me, you know, shoot me an email. Tell me the things you like. That's probably the better thing.
Yeah.
Just tell me what you like. And I'll sift that through and try to come up with something that's fairly simple. I like one page always. So if I
Yep.
can get it down to one page, maybe even with, you know, references to some degree. You know, there's one big section, that's section 14, chapter 61A, different section in the other, but it tells you everything you have to do. We don't need to get into that.
Yeah, agreed. Okay.
Okay, that's good. Now, I've had, when I was working on trying to prepare a statement for the I was looking at the CAI cards and the reporting of who owns these properties, these projects from the past. And there was a significant discrepancy between the ownership and the description of the land. And Rosemary ran into that too. She gave us a call last week. She was trying to figure out, identify all the town properties. And she was looking, excuse me, she was looking at that too. And she could see that a point that Janet brought up in the very beginning was that a lot of these lands have not been conveyed to the Conservation Commission. And that makes them open to development if the town should develop, should desire, but it also makes it harder to track, makes it harder to track on with this. If she could hand this database over to us, and she said no, she couldn't. Because this was something Brian wanted her to do and information that Brian wanted. And I felt like, and I'm beginning to feel like what we're doing isn't highly valued in terms of keeping track of all these things, that if they're, you know, they're in their silo and we're in ours. And I feel like there's a gap between us in terms of communication. We should be working with the town. We shouldn't be looking these things up. We should be able to just get, you know, and to know it's accurate, to contact the town for a list of chapter 61 lands. And that's it. But I felt this resistance to cooperate with it, other than her just calling us up when she's unsure. And then when she's gone, who's going to do that? And when we're gone, who's going to do that? So I don't quite know what to do in terms of communicating with the town in general. Does anyone else agree, or does that make sense? You feel it?
I understand what you're talking about, and you know, I think the perception is that what or anything that we might or how we might interact with, you know, the town agencies is seen as just another burden. You know, it's an extra, you know, where they're so busy doing their job description. And this isn't
The real-
Concord, it's not Wellesley, not Weston. And so I just think that, you gotta just push forward and I think you just need to make the requests that that you put forth very concise and clear, and so that they know what it is you're exactly asking for, and then you can process it. But you're right. I think there is, well, what am I doing this for? Kind of an attitude. And, it's like me trying to pull budgets, numbers out of the, out of the town, well, how much is left in this? How much is left in that? It's like, oh God, Concom wants more info. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. All right. Regarding the plan itself, did we agree at one meeting, or did we discuss at one meeting that we would each take a section or a portion of the plan and start reviewing it?
We had
If we did,
various topical assignments in terms of updating the information. Whether that means those people are responsible for, writing it, I don't know. Probably. I mean, I think we need to, and it's more than we can do tonight, but I think
Right.
we need to establish a plan of attack in terms of how this thing is going to be updated. The 2014 update exists in Word format. The sections that people are responsible for can be distributed to them, and they can be, updated and track changes so we know what's new. And Lorraine, you've got everything in Word so that by section, so that it can be parceled out. But I think one of the things that, besides that is, maybe I should develop a kind of move a timeline from moving when we have to submit this, moving backward, and then, when we need to start, when we need to draft, and we need to review, blah, 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 so that by November 1st or whatever the date is, we're ready to submit.
Mhm.
Because
Does
I'm
anyone?
going to be
Mhm.
otherwise occupied with a lot of different things.
You are.
Besides the Concom, the bylaw review committee, the marijuana review team, and now the MVP, I'm not going to have a lot of time.
Right.
But I'm willing to obviously do what needs to be done, but as long as it's an organized effort, then it can be accomplished.
Lorraine, do you have that Word document? Because my impression was, or
I have,
I thought,
I believe I do someplace, there's some PDFs, it's a combination of maps and spreadsheets and Word docs.
right.
I
So-
have all of that. Does
Well-
anyone want a printed copy? Because I
I
find
would,
it easier to thumb through. You would?
I would focus on the words. And then, when we say see figure 5, well, we'll deal with that later. At least get the words.
So, right, so Lorraine, if you could put either, I don't know if you, like a WeTransfer file or if it's a Google Docs thing or some shared
Okay.
thing where you can put the pieces that are malleable, right?
Yeah.
Or editable. That's the word I'm looking for. Then we take the table of contents and we just, you know, go through it and say who's taken this section, et cetera. And then, you know, we all have a shared site where we're working from.
Okay. I'll do
I
that.
think that's, what do you guys think of that idea?
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be as difficult, obviously, as what, you know, Janet and the rest of us went through when we were basically starting almost from scratch from a process that commenced, you know, 15 years prior to when we, you know, we're doing this. So now we have a bona fide accepted plan. So we should be able to just work from that and update it, literally. It shouldn't be that complicated or, you know, all involved. I mean, not, you know, only so many things have changed.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
even, go ahead.
No, I want to get going on it.
Yeah, no.
I just want to.
I started reading.
I just want to have I don't want to, you know, let's just put the document somewhere so that I can
Okay, I'll do that.
sign up for things and people can sign up for things and we can just start going on it. I think, you know, obviously the charts and the maps and all that and are going to take time to update and look the way that we want them to and all that. And then the other piece of it is, are we going to do the public input again? And
We have to.
yeah, so that's another piece. Like, are we going to update the questions? Are we going to, and
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And that all
Yeah.
has to be factored into the schedule.
right.
Okay.
So just get it into some place where we can have at it and let's sign up for what we can sign up for and see where we're at that point.
Yeah, I
All right,
started
well-
reading through it today and on page 8, I have, I don't know, half a dozen edits, that have changed, things that plan said we were going to do, which are further progressed now that, you know, so I think we need to go through each page, even though most of it is not going to change. There are some, like the rail trail work that's being done, that needs to be reflected. The grant process that Rosemary and that group is going through, that all needs to be put in there too.
Absolutely. Yep.
And we'll have another half a mountain to add to it. We'll get in there.
Well, and plus, you know, Crocker Farm and,
Yep.
and, you know, we, the commission has also accepted other properties. And I've been keeping track of all that. So it's just a matter of, you know, giving my list to you or whomever is going to be mapping this and, you know,
Happy to
convert
help
this,
with that. I've,
you know, one
I've got-
color to another color.
right.
Lorraine,
know.
do you have the current plan in a single document, or it sounded like it's in pieces, right? It's some Excel files.
It is currently on the website. If you go to the Open Space and Recreation Committee's website, webpage, it's there available as a download in PDF form.
Okay,
And then the documents that Marshall gave me a few years ago are ones that I printed from.
because
So
I was
still-
gonna say, if we get to a point where we have pieces of things, if we have documents and then we have maps and then we have Excel files, if you share a Google folder, it kind of puts all of that online. It's like, I don't know if you've used Google Docs. A Google folder is the same idea. We all would be accessing the same folder. It sits somewhere in the cloud, but But that has been really helpful if you've got a complicated document like this, because otherwise, everybody has different pieces of it and it's not coordinated.
Yeah, I'll set that all up.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Part
just send
one?
us the link when it's up there.
Okay. So
I have in my folder on my computer a tracking Excel spreadsheet that I started, but if there's, I don't know if you you folks that did the original have had your own project tracking spreadsheet for the
No.
plan at that time. If somebody has that in their archives, or
What do you
if
mean by
it's
that?
useful.
yeah,
Well, just actually, this one has to do with this one is actually the action items.
Mhm.
And now it won't let me look at it. I don't know why. It says it's already open, but it's not open. So I don't know. Speaking of technical difficulties, I'm just gonna.
I know that.
Well, maybe, I've got a lot of, hopefully all of the pieces in Word, and that I can distribute, and again, we can go from there, or Lorraine has
I'll set up the Google
have it
Drive
someplace.
and then you can upload it if I miss something. Or if you
Yeah.
think it's wrong, then you can replace it.
Yeah,
I like the idea of putting everything in a Google folder, as Chris indicated. You could put both the full PDF in there, then you could put the sections in there. And if you can, so that we don't, the sectioning can be confusing. So you can always check back with a PDF to make sure that what you're working with is in the right section or whatever. But having the PDF in the Word docs and the maps, map PDFs or whatever, and the Excel spreadsheet all in the same folder, I think would be helpful. And then being able to reference the full document the way it was published would also be helpful.
all right. Why don't, Lorraine, you do some,
Organizing.
research into your files and see whether, what you have available in Word that people can work with. I will do the same, and I'll also try to prepare a draft schedule of
Okay.
what we need to do to get this thing done by November 1st.
Early would be nice. Carrie's joking. I mean, we really have time if we start tomorrow. When we have
Well, we do have time, and it's just that, all of us, well, I'll speak for myself, are going to be pulled in other directions.
Very good.
So, I can't devote as much time this time around as I did the last time around.
And that was one of the goals for setting up the committee, was so that it didn't fall upon you again to do this like last time. There was no committee at the time that you did it.
No, there wasn't. No. It was just, you, Janet, me, and wait a minute, it'll come to me, Charlotte.
Charlotte was our mainstay, I think.
Does she have her PhD yet?
She must.
She must.
She must.
Anyway, yeah. I mean,
I mean,
no, that was what really kickstarted our whole effort, and made it so much easier for a limited number of people to finally get it done. But anyway, I think
there was a version before that. I remember before the Conway School, there was a much rougher document. We found out with the Conway School is they formatted it nicely and they structured it. There was a lot of missing details, which you and Janet and Charlotte, and I think you really filled in those big gaps to create.
Yeah, and we don't need to go that route this time. I mean, again, we've got a solid background and we can just work from that.
Good. All right,
Okay.
you'll hear from me in a few days after I set that up. Do we want to do a landowner outreach this year?
I think we ought to piggyback off of the land trusts in the area. Land trusts are thinking about it, so.
Is North County doing anything this year?
Yeah, we're doing, well, actually, right now we're in discussion with and actually Janet is probably on that meeting, the steering committee for the Forest Legacy project out at Al Futterman and the Nashua River Watershed Association is doing. So I don't think that's would be applicable for this region. But I've got actually a phone call with the conservation district. They want to partner on something and I'm not exactly sure what they want to use. They want to reach out to landowners for something. I'll learn more about that. But we were also thinking of a Chapter 61 thing, which is something that, Janet has talked about before. And so I'm wondering if, that was something that we're also interested in kind of the landowner side of Chapter 61. Just the ins and outs of it. And if you want to sell your land and how to, all of that for the landowner side of things. That was an idea that we had come up with kind of on a regional level, probably not until the spring or like later spring or summer. So those are kind of things that are on the horizon for us in terms of programming. We're thinking there's a couple of just general land management stuff that we're looking into, like restoration, habitat restoration programs for landowners, kind of getting some speakers on that. That's more just general landowner knowledge stuff. But, it's interesting because the Mass Woods is doing a whole series on that's landowner outreach and it's very well coordinated and well produced. And so, some of those programs, I think, kind of I don't know, are kind of, I think they're consolidating that landowner outreach effort with
Who was doing that?
expertise of Mass Woods.
Oh.
Yeah. Paul Catanzaro and those folks at UMass. But I don't know. How about ACT? Are you guys doing landowner anything?
We haven't planned anything now.
I would personally say that
Grace or the partnership, North Quabbin Partnership, or North County, so.
Yeah, we can check into Matt Grace and North Quabbin. See if
what they
doing it. I think there's a meeting tomorrow, isn't there? For North
Yes.
Quabbin?
Yeah, I don't know if I've got enough bandwidth to handle all of it.
Yeah.
I got one meeting tomorrow and only 10 gigs of data, so.
Yeah, I can't make it, but Emily's going to present about our pollinator project, so that'll be fun for her.
I would
Maybe,
say
Janet,
that.
are you going to go to
go
the
ahead.
North? Yeah, Janet, are you going to the NQRLP?
No, I let Catherine, I think it's Catherine, know that I can't do it. I've got a Forest Legacy parcel meeting tomorrow morning. But I did mention that, someone from North County was probably going to report on the Forest Legacy project. Although it's on the outskirts, the outer outskirts of North Quabbin.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I think Jassy will probably report about that. But yeah, I guess I could email I'll email North Quabbin and Sarah Wells on to ask what they're doing for that.
Okay. The last agenda item is a grant. Yes?
If I don't know if the discussion is settled or not, but my 2 cents worth is that trying to do a landowner outreach
Yeah.
when all this other stuff is going on between the MVP, trying to write the, having to do another open space survey, blah, blah, blah. It's just too much.
Okay, I agree, but I just wanted to put it out there just to.
Okay. As
Rather
long
than,
as, okay, no, understood.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know how you guys feel, but, certainly if another conservation partner in the region is doing a landowner workshop, I think it's appropriate for us to let the town know about it at least, or if we can spread the word to landowners who we think might need to or would like to hear that message. As long as there's not a lot of effort on our part.
Right.
I don't see a downside in that, but.
All right, very good. All right, then the last item was grant goals. Rosemary's always throwing links at me for one grant or another, and while they're all great ideas, I know that personally, I'm still recovering from 2020. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm tired. I am exhausted mentally, and I can't honestly say that I have a lot to give in terms of writing a grant. Now, having said that, I'm happy to support someone else's effort. Now, she's asking me for maps, so I'll do maps for her. I'll do, write letters, that sort of thing. To help with the initiative of the rail trail. In terms of going out and looking for new, and as Marshall said, we've got a lot of work to do, and I'm not sure that I've got the bandwidth for writing grants unless someone else has a real desire to go after something that you think we need to pursue. Thoughts?
I'm certainly not aware of anything that
I guess if there's a specific funding source and a specific project, I can look at it to see if, I'm not in the mood to go searching for grants.
Well, that's what I was just going to say, it's not like, give me some web space. I'm going to go see what's available and I'm going to go chase it down. And, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm doing that for my own organization enough.
Yeah. I've got, again, personally, so much to do that, if anybody finds a grant they want to go after, I'm happy for them, but,
Yeah, but yeah, some grants are complicated, some grants are simple. If there's a grant that seems appropriate for something that is beneficial for the town, I'll take a look and see if I can work on it or put something together, but.
Well, Rosemary in the planning board and economic development, they're going after a lot of things. And I think that we can lend our assistance to that. And that might be a better use of our time than going out after something different and more. It's so complex, and just getting volunteers, getting these things through the different departments and out through the town administrator, it's kind of a log jam. There's only so much that the town can handle in terms of, now do this and now do that. And I just think it could be a little overwhelming too for them.
Right.
Okay, again, just wanted to ask. It's the beginning of the year and I wanted to try to.
The only thing I'd add to that is that And this is one of the questions I had on the MVP process, is that, if you identify a grant that you want to pursue, that it needs to be approved by the Board of Selectmen, the town administrator, and the Board of Selectmen.
Yep.
Before you go trying to get money. I mean, particularly if it's a matching grant where the town has to spend money too, because they're not going to approve it.
Right.
So anyway, it's like you can identify it, you can give the TA and the Board of Selectmen the info, but it's really up to them to decide whether, you as a representative of the town are allowed to go forward.
Too bad everyone doesn't know that.
Apparently, not everybody does. I rest my case.
Did you see on the news that the person who bought the Ashburnham Council on Aging's van is a teacher who is,
Yeah, yep.
I would think he should take their name off the van, but it's cool what he's doing.
Yep.
I don't think our name should be on the van.
The town should have
Right.
taken it off the vans.
Does everyone know what we're talking about?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Well, a teacher in, he
Townsend.
teaches in Lowell. Yeah, he lives in Lowell. He teaches, I'm sorry, yeah, he lives in Townsend. He teaches in Lowell in the middle school. Well, in order to help his students who have, and I don't know if he has broadband issues, some of his students have broadband issues. He's driving to their houses or their neighborhoods and broadcasting and working with students from the old Ashburnham Council on Aging's van
Yeah.
that he bought from the town.
Set it
Yep.
up with big-
He's got it all rigged up inside, with his classwork and his computer, and the kids can come in and he's a science teacher, so they can come in and do their experiments.
Wow.
Really
That's
cool.
great.
I think
That's
it's
cool.
gonna put Ashburnham on the map, so let's keep
Yeah,
the name
yeah.
on the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're supporting that.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Once you don't find out he's dealing drugs from the back of it, then we're okay. That's funny.
So I have one question. Are we writing a letter to the select board or to the rail trail for the
Yes.
board to do that?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I haven't started it yet. I was still,
I sent you a template.
but Gyra has sent me the template. It is on my to-do list. I know it's due by the 28th, so I'll try to kind of do something tomorrow so you can all review it before I send it out. I got a
I'm
little
so-
way late.
I'm sorry, Cease, what was that?
Letter of support.
They're looking
the-
for a letter of support.
Oh, for the mass trails?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the grant.
Yeah, okay. The commission has already, well, I personally have already done that.
Yeah.
Feasibility.
I was asking about open space.
Yeah.
Because I know Gary did one for the trust.
Okay,
And I know North County sent theirs in, and thank you very much.
And ours will be done.
I'll have to prod you tomorrow.
Well, like I said, I'm mentally and physically exhausted. It's like I've been staying away from the computer as much as I can, just for a little while. I need a break. Just
Speaking of which, how
what?
we doing? I'm hungry.
When's
So
that?
I would like
We
to-
we are at the end. So I
When is
I
the
moved it. I'm sorry.
When's the next meeting?
Yeah. Let me go over here. Now I moved it to 6 o'clock. I hope that's okay. I thought it might give you all a little bit more time to feed families, or
But not
Do you want-
everybody, they're still waiting to eat.
do you want to keep it at 6 or 5:30?
I mean, 5:30 is okay. I mean, doesn't bother me.
So
It
next,
should be okay. I tend to get, I don't know why, but my finance committee meeting tends to be on the same night as this meeting. So I might be a little late.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? I didn't hear you.
I might be a little late if it's at 5:30.
Okay,
I'm good at 6. So that'd be
okay.
the 30th,
Just 6,
right?
yeah. It looks like it's the 30th. Is that right? March? But no, that's not right.
February?
That's-
February
No,
only
no,
has
no,
20.
no. No, right. I was on the wrong month.
February
It's the
doesn't go to
23rd.
the.
Doesn't go
Right.
to the
I
30th.
know. All right, I told you, I'm tired. Give me a break.
Hey, actually,
the
let's do
23rd,
February 30th. That would be good.
I tried to get there, but
I'll
I
be
didn't.
there.
I'll be there too.
We're
I won't be
gonna
there.
be in another zone if there's a February 30th. I don't know where we will be, but it will be interesting.
Well,
Well, anything's possible.
interdimensional.
Yes,
You are
anything-
now entering the twilight zone.
Twilight Zone.
I didn't know we escaped. All right. 23rd, Tuesday, 6 o'clock, February 23rd.
Okay.
And then we'll pick up with the Google Drive, our progress, and talk about the plan. We'll talk about,
Divvying it up.
and then we'll talk about chapter 61 after we've all reviewed that. And anything else that comes up during the month that you want me to put on the agenda, please do. Okay, anyone else have anything to ask or add?
So
We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And then a second,
me,
Marshall seconds. All right, all in favor? Aye. Maureen D'Souza?
Gary
Marshall
Howell,
Dennis,
aye.
I.
No,
I.
Aye.
Bye, Janet.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.